Welcome to Connect to Joy. Your host, Carol DeChaine, is an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Her quest is to help you realize new possibilities, discover and release what holds you back, and enable you to manifest an inspired life filled with joy. Join us on this journey of transformation. Now, here's your host, Carol DeChaine.
Welcome, beautiful spirits. Have you ever wondered what is holding you back from having or doing something that you really want to do? Or maybe you have absolutely no idea of what's holding you back, or you have no real dreams or goals for your life. I know I didn't have specific goals for many years, and I just floated through life letting it take me where it wanted, unaware that I needed direction and not really wanting it at the time. I was in a rut. For at least, maybe 25, 30 years, all I did was work at a semi-fulfilling job and either take spiritual classes or act in plays and musicals when I could get a role. And that's really all I did. It took a life-changing event for me to give myself permission to even dream beyond what I ever did before. Let me see if I can help you today so you can start giving yourself permission to be, do, and have what you want in your life. Today's agenda includes, and I always start with the definition, so this time it's of the word permission. We'll look at the different areas of your life and see what it looks like to you now and how it feels. Then we'll look at what's waiting for you if you do give yourself permission to be, do, or have something. We'll look at what's holding you back in each of the areas of your life. They won't necessarily be exactly what's holding you back personally, but there'll be different ideas that you can look at and feel through and see if they truly are holding you back. Or maybe you'll have an epiphany and you'll know a totally different thing than what I offer. And then we'll talk about how to get out there and really give yourself permission to be, do, and have what you want. So let's start with what is permission. Merriam-Webster says permission is an act of permitting. Well, that's helpful, isn't it? It also refers to a formal consent and authorization. I suppose I could work with that. Vocabulary.com says, if you give someone approval to do something, then you're giving them permission. And finally, the dictionary at Cambridge.org says that permission is the act of allowing someone to do something or of allowing something to happen, which is kind of the one that I want to think about more. So if we're speaking of giving yourself permission to be, do, or have something, you need to allow yourself to dream big. Take those opportunities that show up and not let fears and the I'm not good enough get in the way. So let's look at where in your life you might not be giving yourself permission to be, do, or have something in your life. And please be as honest as you can as you kind of assess where your life is. You need to know if you love where you are. Maybe you're just going along for the ride, meaning you like it okay, but it isn't what you love. Maybe you dislike or hate where you are in a certain area of your life. Or maybe you feel like you're stuck in a rut, or you have no dreams or goals there. You're just sort of going along like I did. And do try to analyze your life without judging yourself, as good or bad as you go along with me. It's like taking the temperature of where you are in your life. And you don't have to tell anyone else or me or anybody, but try to be honest with yourself so you can really delve in and figure things out for yourself. Let's start with your career. What does it look like? And then think about if you're giving yourself permission or not. So do you have a job or a career you love, like, put up with, or maybe hate? Where are you on that spectrum? Is this a job or a career that someone expected you to have? Like your family are all policemen or lawyers, or there's a family business you're expected to go into? And if that's the case, how did you feel about that? Did you go into it, or did you rebel and say, no, I'm not going to? And were you happy with what you chose instead? Did you settle for something because you couldn't get the grades in school to be what you wanted? Or maybe there wasn't enough money to go to college or a trade school that appealed to you. Maybe you never could figure out what you wanted, so you took a job or got into a career in a field you defaulted to. And that's why it isn't what you want. And that one was pretty much me for most of my day job life. How do you feel about your career or your job if you don't think of it as a career? We're going to move into next your significant other. Now, if you don't have one, do you prefer to be alone and happy that way? Or do you scramble for dates constantly to find the one due to maybe age? You're getting older, your biological clock is ticking. Maybe family and friends are pressuring you or introducing you to 3 million different people because they want you to settle down. Or maybe you just get the getting kind of old here, don't you want children? Whatever you're getting. If you do have a significant other, how happy are you? Some disagreements are normal, but do you fight with raised voices a little or maybe a lot? Do you lack communication? Or is there mental or physical abuse or anything else that you don't like about it? If you aren't happy, look at why aren't you happy? And what would it take to make you happy? This isn't kind of easy homework, but it's something that really makes a difference if you're willing to take the time and look deeply into something. Because once you understand what's going on, then you can have the motivation to shift much easier than if you just sort of lackadaisically go, yeah, it's not too much fun. Let's move into children now. Do you not have any due to fears of being a bad parent? Maybe you had bad role models or no role models, so you don't know if you'd be good at it. Or maybe you don't have any children, and the wish for one is one of the reasons you want a significant other. Are your children overwhelming with their needs or their behaviors? You can be honest. You don't have to feel guilty about what you feel, and you don't have to tell anyone unless it's weighing on you. And then if you don't want to talk to a spouse, you can always talk to a therapist or a life coach because they can help you if you need that. How happy are you with your children or the lack of them? And moving into friends. Do you have friends? Can you go to them with both your joys and your problems? They're all different types of friends. The close ones I just mentioned that you can talk to about anything. But there are those you hang out with for a beer. The ones you do specific things with, like golfing buddies or bowling league. I have theater friends that I can rehearse and perform with for up to 4 months at a time. But I'll never see them for years after that. And then I'll audition, and maybe I'll get into another show with them 5 or 10 years later. I may think of them warmly, but we don't get together, call, or even hang out unless I see them on Facebook. I might respond to something. And my sister has a crafting group, and they always get together once a month and work on crafts. Some of them are friends, but most of them don't really contact each other in between. Some of the people in a group you'd know well, and some you wouldn't. But maybe you feel too busy with your family and your career to have many friends. Where are you in the friends category? Are you happy with the type of friends you have and the closeness you feel to them? Or do you want more friends, or at least closer friends? And if we veer off from relationships into finances, this includes money and investments, your home if you own it, your car, anything like that. So are you doing well with your finances? So-so? In debt, but not badly? Or maybe you're barely making it and thinking you need to file for bankruptcy. Or maybe you're totally in debt, even worse than that, and you're thinking you can't make it. Do you have to rent instead of own? Or maybe you want to. Some people find it so much simpler to rent and never want to own, and others, they never want to have to pay someone to live in their own house, and they're adamant about owning. Everyone has a different comfort zone when it comes to how much money and stuff they need. Where is yours, and how are you doing? Are you disappointed in your life, or do you feel good? Because you have enough for where you feel comfortable. There's no set number that you have to have. And then there's health and fitness. Are you paying attention to your health and fitness or totally ignoring it? Or maybe you're working out every day and totally into staying fit. Do you mean to start exercise of some type but can't stick with it? Maybe you have that problem with eating healthier or that diet you keep meaning to go on. I have to say the exercise thing is mine. I mean to do it. And for a while there, I did do it and I was pretty consistent. But when I'm on my own, I sit down, I write, I do the podcast, I do a bunch of other things, but I don't tend to walk around and do a lot of movement. So that's meaning to start the exercise thing. Yeah, that one's mine. But wherever you are on the scale of taking care of yourself, how are you feeling? Are you getting enough sleep and nutritious food? How does your body feel, and how happy are you with your health and fitness level right now? It can be tough if you have arthritis or some sort of a disease that you've been diagnosed with? How are you right now? I have 3 more I think I want to talk about. One is spiritual life. Do you take time for something that feeds your spirit? Do you pray or meditate or go to church, maybe read books, or have a spiritual community, whatever feeds your soul? Do you have something like that? Or do you close yourself off in this area, some or maybe completely? And then there's personal development. Do you like who you are? Or maybe there are habits like smoking, drinking, biting your nails, watching a lot of TV, or something else that might not be working for you and that you might want to change. Where are you with your habits? And personal development also kind of, for me, covers your emotions that maybe you want to shift. If you have an anger issue, or you feel guilty about something, or frustrated or sad, or any other emotion that stops you from moving forward in a positive way. How are your emotions? And forgiving someone or not can fall into this category. Good traits and ways of doing something. You may have tried to change, but either haven't done it for whatever reason, or tried to shift and failed to your way of thinking anyway, maybe numerous times. And maybe you've given up, or maybe you keep trying. Really hard to do some of these, especially quitting smoking and other things like that. And the last one's fun. It's about recreation, vacation, or just relaxing time. What does this look like in your life? Do you take time to relax? Or do you relax all the time and don't get anything else done? Do you work too hard or too little to the detriment of being, doing, and having the best life for you? Relaxation time is also self-care time. Are you too busy helping everyone else that you don't take time for you? How did that go? Are there numerous areas in your life that you would like to give yourself permission to change? Or is it pretty much maybe your entire life? Remember, there's absolutely no judgment here. You're just observing how you feel and where you wish that there were changes. You may know the steps you want to take and what you want to do to make changes, but have a block against moving forward of some type, or have absolutely no idea where to go from here. What category do you fall in? And by not giving yourself permission, what are you missing in your life? What might you be, do, or have if you take that step? Let's look at those same categories, although I'm sure you have other categories you'll come up with as well. So in a career, if you gave yourself permission, you might have a career you loved, that fulfilled you and had a salary that was more than enough for your needs. You'd either be your own boss, if that's what you wanted, or you'd have someone that appreciated you and was easy to get along with. One that could maybe take you under his or her wing and teach you more and move you up the ranks if it's that type of job or career. And what else might it look like for you if you let go of any doubts or fears about your career, if you got into the right career for you, if you gave yourself permission to make changes if you need to? Let's move on to the significant other. If you gave yourself permission to have this wonderful person in your life, hopefully it would be a person that makes you feel seen and heard, who loves you for who you are, is a good communicator, has integrity. What else might this look like if you wanted to give yourself permission to have this wonderful person as your significant other? What would that person look like? Realizing that nobody is perfect, but what kind of qualities make the most sense for you that you would want to get along with? And looking at children now, having however many children you want that are well-behaved, easy to deal with, and make you proud, doesn't necessarily happen. If you give yourself permission to have children and to have children like that, you might have opportunities and things come up that will shift you to be able to deal with them better. Realizing, of course, that people are people. And if you already have kids and are having a problem with them, you need to give yourself permission to not only deal with them maybe differently if need be, but also letting yourself react to them differently. Finding more peace if you get totally stressed out is a great permission to give yourself, and you don't have to feel guilty about that. And what about friends? If you give yourself permission, you can weed out the people that aren't truly friends and who treat you poorly, or maybe forget about you and you have to go chasing after them. Now, some friends are worth doing and having, even if they kind of hermit themselves away. And so you keep after them if you want them. But there are others that don't feed your soul when you're with them. So you go, I have to chase them and I don't really appreciate them. I don't like them in my life. Then it's maybe time to give yourself permission to let them go. And you can find friends that are fun to be around, and at least a few that are close, and you can talk to about anything. It's up to you what you want in your life. What do you want to give yourself permission to have as a friend? And if you look at your finances and you give yourself permission there to have the finances in the state you want, would you have $1 million or more, or maybe less because you don't need it? Would you own a home? And what type of home and where would it be? This can be really fun to look into. What kind of car would you drive? Would you have zero debt? What would your finances look like if you had a choice and could visualize what you wanted? If you gave yourself permission. Now, in the health and fitness realm, if you allow yourself to imagine your body as you want it, how fit would you be? Lots of muscles, flexibility, strength, or maybe you're filled with energy? If you've been diagnosed with a disease, perhaps all you want is for it to be cured or to go into remission. What would your health look like at your best case scenario? And your spiritual life, you would either have a group of people that believe as you that would make you feel heard and have a great connection with. You might want a group that makes you feel welcome and included so that you don't feel like you're an outsider. You might have a set time for meditation or prayer that's good for you. It could be just a quiet time or a time out in nature that feeds your soul. If you gave yourself permission, what would your spiritual life look like? And what about personal development? If you allow yourself to change habits that aren't working for you, you can shift your whole perspective and life around, since the time and money you might spend on those habits are suddenly freed up, let alone any emotional and mental energy you expend on them or on stopping doing them. You might choose to find hobbies that bring you joy, take classes to learn something new, or find groups to meet up with that have similar interests that you might not have done in the past. All because you chose to focus on your personal development section. And lastly, what about your vacation and the relaxation time? If you gave yourself permission, you might allow yourself to take short and long vacations as need be. And maybe you find a job that pays for your travel. But you'd also do enough self-care so you'd be more relaxed and feel less stress in your life. And couldn't we all deal with that? What could happen in your life if you gave yourself permission and allowed yourself to be, do, and have what you wanted? And now I want to move into some of the obstacles and blocks that might get in your way if you haven't been giving yourself permission to do, be, and have what you want. I'm going to go through the same sections of your life again. I do want to preface this with the fact I'm not a psychologist or a therapist, but I've seen much of this with not only my own life, but also my life coaching clients. So here we go, back into the career again. What are some of the blocks and obstacles? Sometimes not enough money to go to college or to get the training you want might be a block. Maybe if others expected you to go into that certain field I mentioned or join the family business, you were too uncomfortable choosing what you truly wanted, and it was easier to just go in with them. Or either, like I said, you didn't want to disappoint someone, or you didn't know how to say no and choose what you wanted. There could have been some fear involved too with that. Maybe a situation occurs that gets you off track, like an unexpected pregnancy, death, or sickness of someone in the family. If you have a job already and you need to have more education to get a promotion or to change careers, maybe you put it off because you think other things need to happen first, like children to go off to college or getting certain debts paid off. And if you're married, maybe your spouse or others in your family aren't emotionally supportive, so you allow yourself to be swayed that maybe it isn't for you. And the last one I want to mention is that you just don't think you're smart enough to either be in the field you want or the specific job that's dear to your heart. Now, do any of these strike a chord if you aren't happy in your job or career? Now, some of the obstacles and blocks for a significant other. Now, if you're alone, maybe you keep dating because you're afraid of being alone. That's also a reason to be with someone, but settle for second or third best. I know at least a couple of people who, at least in my estimation, settled for less than stellar connections because of that reason. You may be alone or settle for second or third best if you don't think you're attractive enough, smart enough, or just enough to attract someone that would have the qualities you want. And usually people only attract the type of person they feel they deserve. So if you attract over and over again abusers or people that just don't treat you well in some way or another, and maybe that this is all you've known and feel you deserve. A lot of times, maybe most of the time, the fears and worries we have may not be apparent to us, as they may be really deep in our subconscious. So you might need some help from a therapist to get it to the depth of what's up in order to give yourself permission to have who you want and the type of relationship you want. What about children? What are the blocks with children? A lot of times it's a lack of communication. That's a concern. The block may be that you're afraid of what you'll hear, and that blocks you from really listening to your children, especially if it's about drugs or sex or whatever it may be. But sometimes it's your children who don't want to tell you anything as they think you'll be mad or disappointed in them. You may give too much of your time to your children, leaving none for yourself because you don't want to be accused of being a bad parent. So you take on too much instead of asking for help with your schedules or carpooling or whatever comes up. Now, obstacles and blocks with your friends could be that you may not give yourself permission to be truthful with your friends because you may not want to hurt their feelings, or be afraid that someone will stop being your friend if you set boundaries, like the amount of time you're available or what you talk about. Because maybe politics or COVID, for example, are off limits if you disagree too much, because that can really screw up a friendship. Again, as with any relationship, you may not feel worthy of having a really good friend. Maybe you think you're a bad friend and feel guilty if you do have a good friend who's there for you because you don't think you're there for them. There are a lot of obstacles and blocks in all of these that can come up. Those are just a few. Now, moving on to finances, look at the past history with your family. Was everyone what you considered poor or in debt all the time? Your block may be the fear that if you make more money than your family, they either won't talk to you or they'll start sponging off of you. You might be embarrassed and not want to tell anyone of the pickle you might be in. But you may never have been taught how to handle money. And whether you make it or not, keeping the money is a whole other skill. If you aren't a natural, you may need some lessons on how to invest and how to keep the money moving forward. You may not feel worthy of having money or having your finances be in good shape. You may feel undeserving. And you may not feel smart enough to make the money in the first place. Or if you weren't educated, you may feel that it's holding you back. There are a ton of blocks to financial and money matters. And of course, each person, as in all of these matters, have a slightly different block. Maybe with a different past kind of thing attached to it. Now, looking at health and fitness, those obstacles and blocks, that you might want to consider your past history again with your family. Does high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, or maybe Alzheimer's run in your family? Perhaps many people in your family are obese or are alcoholic. Then you might consider those obstacles to good health or maintaining whatever you consider good health because you have that fear ingrained in you that you're going to have the same problem as your family. Now, perhaps you're uncomfortable in your body and going to a gym makes you break out into a cold sweat, so you can't get yourself to work out. That could be a block to health and fitness. Or maybe you have an injury or a bum knee and you don't think you can work out very well, at least at the moment. So you don't do anything. This one sounds familiar to me. And maybe you put off that diet or working out and you don't even know why. Or you've tried it and you just keep stopping. You might need to look into the whys with a life coach or a therapist to be able to move forward beyond whatever blocks you have if you can't get through them on your own. Of course, that's true with all of these blocks. And again, going into spiritual life, the block might be a religious one, where you had a bad experience at a church or with someone at a church. Maybe you were forced to be in the religion your parents were and you refused to go back. And of course, if you don't believe in a God of any type, that is a huge block to having a spiritual life. But maybe other people will see you as spiritual because you're kind and you're loving and you appear to be a spiritual person, but you don't have the same type of slant on spiritual life as someone who considers themselves spiritual would have. It doesn't matter. Whatever brings you joy and gives you peace is part of your spiritual life. Now, personal development blocks, if you tried to change a bad habit in the past or start a new better habit that you might have failed at, like trying to stop smoking or exercising more regularly or going on a diet and sticking to it, that feeling of failure that you had in the past can permeate every time you try again. And you might feel unworthy or not good enough to be a better you, so you self-sabotage when you do try it. Or to be honest, personal development might not even be on your agenda. It might not even occur to you to make any changes, which is a huge block unto itself, because you can't even see how much better your life might be if you do make attempts to make those changes. And you might just think you have no time for this. It's not something on your, like I said, your agenda, because the time thing, you're just too busy. But sometimes you have to make time for things that are important and prioritize your life a little differently. Obstacles to allow you to have more relaxation and fun times can be anything from fear of taking time off from your job that they might replace you, to letting people help you in doing some of the things at home or family related that you insist on doing all yourself because you want to be irreplaceable. Sometimes making money becomes the obstacle to taking time off, especially if you work for yourself or just don't get paid for vacations. And many times women or men decide that they have to do things for the family before themselves. So even 5 minutes becomes impossible to take a breath or have a bubble bath, my personal favorite, and do some self-care. Now, some of the biggest blocks that come up may not feel like you have any control over at all. Being fired from a job, being diagnosed with an illness, or someone dying, or just a few of those types. They may not seem like roadblocks to give yourself permission to have a better life, but if you stumble over them, they pretty much are, whether you think you created them or not. Now, a big one that many people accept as their truth is that they can't go forward and give themselves permission to pursue their dreams or goals until something changes in their life, until the kids get to be a certain age or go to college, until their boss retires and they are no longer their boss, until the car gets paid off. I mean, you get the idea. They wait for a person to get better or past a certain age or a situation to change before they'll step forward for their own happiness. Sometimes the person isn't exactly unhappy, but they don't feel anything except maybe stuck in a rut or like they're running in place. They may even feel as the years go by that their dreams or goals are just getting too far away to even try for anymore. But ultimately, you want to be happy. And that's what giving yourself permission to have a better life in some or all of these areas is about. So take a look at your blocks and obstacles and see which ones you can go around, over, or through, even if you need help to do it. So just how can you give yourself permission to do something? This can be especially hard to do when you don't think you have any real goals or dreams, or if your blocks seem more subconscious and buried pretty deeply. So first, just decide. Do you want a better life than what you have? Look at those areas of your life and see how you felt about it. Because secondly, what you want to do is look at those lives and figure out which part you want to start on, which part of your life makes the most sense to start on. You can go back and listen to that part of the show again and figure that out. Do you want to work on your love life, your finances, your friends, or maybe your career? You can start either with the squeaky wheel that drives you crazy, or start with something smaller if that scares you. Just start. If you don't already have goals and dreams, have some fun and come up with some. If you need some help, listen to episode 3 of the first season. It's called What's Your Why? And while it talks about your life purpose, what you want to do is to go through some of the exercises that walks you through finding things you love to do. There are also other exercises besides that one that'll help you with just coming up with your goals and dreams as well. And then next, look at whatever blocks or obstacles seem to come up if you tried for your goals in the past. Or if you haven't, what blocks or obstacles, which are usually some types of fears, have held you back from even trying? The next step is to play around and visualize the goal or dream coming true. How wonderful is it? What is your life like, and what are you like once you've achieved it? Whether it's something small or large, it doesn't matter. Visualize that goal or dream, whether it's a tiny one or it's like a life-changing one, and feel what it feels like to be there, to have it be your truth. And this will give you energy and motivation to get it started if you don't have enough already. And if you get stuck on the visualization or have a block that you can't get by, try one of my guided meditations on YouTube. They're under my name, Carol DeChaine, and there are a ton of them. One of them might speak to you specifically about going through this. And if you actually want me to record a specific one for you, just let me know. Put it in the comment section or contact me by email, and I'll record one. And I will send it to you first, but I will also put it on the YouTube channel as well. Now, if you are so stuck, you're about to give up, never be shy about going to a life coach or a therapist. A life coach will specifically try to help you with a step-by-step approach to get you where you want to be. And a therapist is especially good at helping you dig around and learn from your past so you can let it go and move forward. You are so worth it. Today, we've covered a lot of ground on granting yourself permission to do, be, and have a better life. We've gone over the definition of permission. We looked at the different areas of your life and where you might want to make a change. And then we looked at the good you could have in those different areas if you gave yourself permission to do, be, and have what you want. We looked at the obstacles and blocks that might be holding you back in each area of the life. And then how to really give yourself permission to be, do, and have what you want. And again, those were to decide if you wanted it. And then decide what part of your life you want to start with. Figure out the goals and dreams that you want to work on. What is it that would make your life better? Figure that out. And then look at whatever blocks or obstacles that seem to come up so you can kind of tackle them ahead of time if you can. Visualize that goal or dream being true right now and see how you feel about it. And if you have trouble with visualization, check out the YouTube channel. And then also, if you get stuck, to go to a life coach or a therapist. Those are the steps to really give yourself permission. Now, only you can decide if giving yourself permission to say yes to an opportunity or a dream is what will work best for you. But what if you look back on your life and all you can think of is what you should have done? If you try something and it doesn't work out, oh well, that's okay. If you think of it as a lesson learned, it could be one that opens doors to your future. So giving yourself permission gets easier. And when you get to the future, you'll look back with hindsight and go, yep, that was the turning point because I stepped up and I tried something or I did something that I wasn't going to. But I decided, I'm worth it. I'm going to try this. Taking the time to review your life, as I tried to do earlier, is a gift to yourself. Figuring where you need to change it and bravely stepping forward into a new world or even a slightly changed world can shift your happiness in whatever part of your life that you're focusing on. Don't let those blocks and obstacles get you down. Whether it's your career, your significant other, your children, your friends, your finances, your health and fitness, your spiritual life, personal development, or time for self-care and vacation, any one shift will impact the rest of your life as well, making it more of whatever you want it to be. So give yourself permission to be, do, or have something. Dream big. Take those opportunities that show up. Give yourself permission to be, do, or have something. Dream big. And dream small as well. Whatever you want. Take those opportunities that show up. And don't let fears and the I'm not good enoughs get in the way. I know you deserve more than that. But you have to believe that too. Thank you for joining me here today. If you'd like to know more about intuitive spiritual or life or business coaching with me or marconics multidimensional energy, please check out my website, www.connecttojoy.com, just like this show, connect2joy, and follow me on Instagram at, you got it, Connect to Joy. Until next week, be courageous and reach higher. Just take one step at a time on your journey. Get the help you need. And get out there and find your joy. Give yourself permission because you deserve it.
Thank you for listening to Connect to Joy. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. Contact the host, Carol DeChaine, with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to become a guest. And remember, transformation is a journey, and not an end destination. So be kind to yourself, because you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire.